Dan Harris, 10% Happier: How to Tame the Voice in Your Head and Find Fulfillment. Dan Harris is a retired American journalist for ABC News. He was an anchor for Nightline and co-anchor of the weekend edition of Good Morning. Harris encourages the use of meditation and himself uses a method of watching the breath. His 10% Happier podcasts are interviews with other meditators. Harris has said that his self-examination, abandonment of drugs, and adoption of meditation were prompted by an on-air panic attack in 2004. We often fall victim to whatever is happening in our minds, or drifting unaware on a surge of habitual impulses. Author Dan Harris realized that this lack of awareness was not only responsible for his panic attack on live television, but for his drug addiction, overeating, and overreacting. Most of us live our lives in a complete daze. We barely have time for ourselves and are constantly busy with something else. We are either worrying about the past or trying to predict the future, leaving the present entirely unattended. According to the Buddha, we all have 3 habitual responses to everything we experience. We want it, pursuing pleasurable experiences, or we reject it, running away from painful experiences, or we zone out from boring experiences. But there's also a 4th option made available to us, which is known as mindfulness. It is a way to observe the contents of the mind without becoming attached to them. For instance, avoiding the physical urge to scratch an itch on your arm, rather than itching it or doing something about it. The act of just being aware of it is what mindfulness is. What mindfulness does is create some space in your head so you can, as the Buddhists say, respond rather than simply react. According to the Buddhist philosophy, you have no control over what comes into your head or the type of thoughts you have. Everything arises out of an unknown and mysterious void. We are fond of berating and judging ourselves quite harshly for feelings that we had no hand in creating. The only thing you have control over is simply how you choose to handle it. Meditation is a simple 3-step process. Sit down, get comfortable, focus on your breath. When you try to meditate, you will find that your mind has a million different thoughts that fly through it like a freight train on a highway. This happens to every single one of us. When you notice yourself getting lost in thought, don't be dissuaded. Just refocus your attention on your breath and don't worry or think about how you're not doing it right. What is the best environment for meditation? The honest answer is anywhere. Just find a space that you feel comfortable, somewhere you can put yourself and your thoughts at ease. It might be your office, a park bench, your living room, etc. Pick a place to start your practice and resolve to do it for 5 or 30 minutes. You could easily set an alarm on your smartphone, starting with 5 and working your way upward to 30, and past that if you like. What is the true benefit of meditation? It teaches one to observe the contents of their consciousness, the voice in your head without judgment or reaction. The essence of mindfulness is the ability to recognize what is happening in your mind at the moment, whether it be anger, jealousy, sadness, the pain of a paper cut, etc., without getting identified with or carried away by the feeling. We live in a world that constantly bombards us with information from pretty much every conceivable direction, pulling our attention from here to there, which does not get us anywhere. This causes our bodies to release stress, inducing chemicals like cortisol that surge through our veins and eventually leads to a sharp decline in our physical, emotional, and mental well-being. What does all this mean? All this kind of stress is very detrimental to our well-being. One way to deal with it is medication. This method, unfortunately, is only a band-aid. A better, more sustainable method of handling all the stress is by practicing meditation, which leads to a healthier, compassionate, and mentally stable lifestyle, bursting with fulfillment and purpose. That was the core messages we gathered from Dan Harris's book, 10% Happier. If you want the PDF summary of this book, please click the link below and we will be happy to email it to you. And if you find this video valuable, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next week with another book summary.